Very good. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've got people coming on board as we get started. And we just want to check in to make sure that no one is having any technical difficulties. If you are, then I would suggest that you reach out to Terry. Terry, may I give people your phone number if somebody is having a technical problem? Or Abby, shall you share that? Would that be helpful?
Sure, I'll put my number right in the chat here.
Perfect. Abby will help you if you're having any sort of technical difficulties. We'll do it that way. Abby, are you also able to give me some indication of how many people have joined and maybe when it might be an appropriate time to start when we have
Sure.
a core group?
It looks like we have 19 people on right now, and I think we had about 30 register, about 28 registered, I think.
Okay.
So we're pretty close here. Yep, now we have 20.
Great. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes, and so if you don't have your cup of coffee yet, please feel free to go and get that, or whatever your favorite morning beverage is. And again, if you have any concerns about getting on or sound or anything like that, then Terry has shared her phone number here. Abby has shared her phone number. Can you pop that up one more time on the screen, Abby, so that if, in fact, I'll look at chat here and I'll be able to see it. If you can't see in the chat roll, her number is 320-257-9743. That's 320-257-9743 if you're having any difficulties with sound or with being able to see. Abby is a wonderful staff member of Community Giving who understands technology, and she can help you get connected. So I'll just share my good mornings. My name's Brenda Moore, and I am a resident in Carver, very proud member of the Carver County community, and also very privileged to be doing some work with the Community Foundation for Carver County and their board. I'm going to be helping to kind of steer the webinar this morning and introducing you to some of the various speakers as we go along. We're going to have a series of presentations, and then we're going to have some time at the end for some questions and some answers. And at any point during the entire presentation, if you have a question that you would like to be sure that we address, please go ahead and type that into the chat roll if you know how to do that. And then we will be sure that we attend to that question at the end of our time together. So that helps you appreciate a little bit about how this morning is going to flow. Terry, what do you see in terms of who we have and how many we have? Are we close to being ready to start?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead, Brenda. We have 31 participants right now, so.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to all of you who have joined us. Again, my name is Brenda Moore, and I live here in Carver. And you may not know me, but I can practically guarantee you that you're going to know the first person who is going to welcome us today. Bob Repke is no stranger to the entire county. He has been a leader extraordinaire for just about anything that is life-changing and community building in Carver County. And we are so fortunate that Bob Repke is the chair of the Community Foundation for Carver County Board. And so Bob, we're going to let you get things started today.
We need Bob to unmute himself. We can't hear him yet.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thanks, Steve. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being with us this morning. We really appreciate you taking time out of what I'm sure are really busy schedules, and we're glad to have you with us. this morning. So we're going to try and be really efficient as we spend, the next hour or so with you and trying to build that understanding of the Community Foundation for Carver County and its connection with you. So, and that's the purpose of today, to build your awareness and understanding of the work of the foundation and ask for your support as we work to build Carver County communities and make them the healthiest communities they possibly can be. Let me first introduce our board of directors, and hopefully we can put their names up there so you can see. They're listed, should be listed on the screen. Are they up there or going to be up there, Brenda? And they represent a cross-section of people from the communities of Carver County, and all with a commitment to make our communities the best they can be. And, it's a really good, dedicated group of people. Our mission is to engage people, connect resources, and build community. That's our purpose, that's our mission. For so many years, Carver County has not had a local community foundation vehicle to support philanthropy and provide the opportunity to invest in the future of our communities, and that now exists. Now we have that vehicle. So there's no more important time to build community than right now. And what we're experiencing across our communities, across the county, across our state, the country, there's no better time to talk about and build community. It is so important. So Carver County is made up of a lot of small towns. Some of those towns are growing into larger towns, but they all possess a commitment to have a really strong sense of community. I think all those towns share that objective to be strong communities with a strong sense of community. We've been blessed with abundance. Excuse me. We've been blessed with abundance in our county, as you'll hear about more as we go through the presentation today. But we also are not insulated from the issues and challenges that are out there. We believe the foundation understands those issues and those challenges that our communities are facing, and provides the opportunity now for people, organizations, businesses, foundations that desire to make a difference, that really are looking to invest in the future of our communities to do just that. So in the end, we are building community for the Carver County towns that we call home. So today, we want to spend this time with you to help you understand the foundation, the Community Foundation for Carver County, and how we can carry out that mission, that objective of engaging people, connecting resources, and building community.
Thank you so much, Bob. We're so glad that you're our champion for this important work. I can't think of anybody better. We have another important champion for the work of Community Foundation, and that is Steve Jewell. He's the CEO and president of CommunityGiving, and CommunityGiving has become an incredibly important partner for the Community Foundation for Carver County. And so, Steve, we're going to let you tell us more about CommunityGiving and the relationship it has with all of us here in Carver County.
Thank you so much, Brenda, and wow, thanks, Bob. This is an exciting day, and I've had the privilege of being a part of these kind of meetings several times in the past. And I have to tell you that these days, when we're starting and talking about the importance of a local community foundation, they're memorable days. And the reason why they're memorable is because 20 years from now, 50 years from now, maybe 100 years from now, the people who come after you are going to be very glad that you tuned in to hear this particular webinar, because some great things are happening with the Community Foundation for Carver County. It's happening because there's a great board, and it's going to happen because there's a lot of other great individuals who might want to get involved and be a part of this, and it's going to have an impact. Many, many years ago, a gentleman by the name of Alex Didier, the president of the Bremer Bank in St. Cloud, had a vision of creating a local community foundation. That vision he shared with a number of people. Some people thought he was crazy. Some people said, Al, we don't need another charity asking us for money. Al kept saying, that's not what it's about. It's about providing a vehicle, helping people give back to their local community. And today, 30 years later, that foundation has over $100 million in assets and is putting out several million dollars, $7 to $8, $9 million a year in grants to help the community, especially now during this time of COVID. So we're talking about doing something very similar in Carver County and supporting a locally based community foundation in Carver County, a vision that Bob and Laura and the board members have crafted, and simply ask CommunityGiving to be a partner and help them and support them. And so that's why we're here. In my role, it's here to help and support the work of this wonderful team that's already in place. We're going to show you a very short video, and then I'm going to tell you one story, and we're going to move on. So let's just listen to this short story about the Community Foundation for Carver County.
Grants. Support in private foundations usually comes from a single donor, a family, or a corporation, while a community foundation garners its support from a broad range of sources. Individuals, companies, government entities, and other nonprofits believe in its work and support its growth year after year. It's a hybrid with givers of all sizes. Our local leaders had the wisdom to establish a foundation 15 years ago. The Community Foundation for Carver County now provides innovative ways for residents and businesses to give back and support key projects in our area. It's managed by a 12-member board and has assets of over $1.3 million. We are now teamed as a partner foundation of CommunityGiving, a nonprofit foundation which manages over $149 million in funds. This allows our local foundation to increase its efficiency and leverage the power of the gifts they receive. The Community Foundation for Carver County exists to help shape the future by engaging people, connecting resources, and building community, as well as attracting, managing, and distributing charitable gifts. Since 2004, there have been gifts distributed to nonprofits, mostly local, through the granting program, and to other charities through donor funds, also mostly local. Both unrestricted and donor funds are vital to the work of the foundation. One of the primary functions of the Community Foundation is to build and manage a permanent endowment to meet local needs. This is accomplished by helping potential donors understand those needs, identify projects they care about, and determine how their gift can make a difference. It does not encourage the support of any one charity, but as a neutral entity, it can assist donors in attaining their charitable goals. The Community Foundation works with donors and their professional advisors to structure planned gifts that benefit both the community and the donor. And another important role of a community foundation is supporting local nonprofits. Most gifts given to the foundation are really gifts given through the foundation to the desired cause. The foundation acts as an umbrella over all nonprofit organizations that are working diligently to build a stronger community. Some examples of giving through gifts and grants to the All's Well Waconia, the Scott Carver Threshers, Chaska Historical Society, Carver County Veterans Memorial and Registry, Hope Rides, Launch Ministry, Love Inc., Furnishare, and River Valley Nursing Center. The Community Foundation has 6 types of funds for donors to work with. An agency fund, used by schools and churches. Designated funds, that donors can name a specific charity. A field of interest fund, such as education, healthcare, or the environment. Donor advised funds, much like a charitable checking account, allowing the donor to vary their gift to several different charities. Unrestricted funds or community impact funds that can be used for general grant making, and scholarship funds where the donor can make higher education available for individuals. As a donor, you get to decide what's right for you. A community foundation is often called a three-legged stool, a term that reflects its role as a fundraiser, grant maker, and community leader. The Community Foundation for Carver County adds a stable 4th leg to the stool by acting as a central philanthropic vehicle matching donors and their interests. Your community foundation is your resource to give back to your community, the place we all love to call home. It's your foundation, supporting us all. A foundation.
All right. Thank you, Terry. So that's in a nutshell what a community foundation is, and in particular what has happened with the Community Foundation for Carver County going back to 2004. And so the board of volunteers who give of their time, I can't say enough about the commitment that these individuals have and the amount of time that they've given to this effort because they believe in it. They care about their local community, and they've made some incredible things happen over those 15 years. But now they kind of want to reboot, and they want to continue to see it grow and really take the shape of what the potential is in Carver County. And so that's why they partnered with CommunityGiving. We have several foundations that we partner with, and our whole sole focus is trying to help the community foundations that we serve become successful and serve their communities and make a difference. When I first started in this industry, I didn't know exactly what to expect, except that I knew that I had a strong interest in this area because I saw what was happening with, at least in this place where I started in St. Cloud, people helping people. That's really what it comes down to. Shortly after I started here, I got a phone call from a professional advisor. He had a client, and this client was a woman from Wilmer. She had done well, and her husband, but her husband had passed away. He'd been a local veterinarian in the Wilmer area. People referred to him as Doc, and they had no children. And the advisor, looking at their estate, said, you know, you need to be doing something here with your estate plan. Are there some things that you maybe want to do, and have you thought about charity or philanthropy? And she kind of got excited and said, yeah, I've thought about giving something away. I think I'd like to do that, but I just don't know where or how to go about doing it. Her financial advisor called us at the Community Foundation in St. Cloud at the time. And simply, we talked through with that advisor what some of the options might be. And then I had the distinct pleasure of meeting this woman by the name of Vi Osherman. She only knew she wanted to make a difference, and she said she had no idea where. I kind of knew that if we had a chance to get to know her, we'd discover some of her passions. And sure enough, after visiting for about an hour or 2 hours, a number of things emerged where she had a distinct passion of things that had made a real difference in her life, in her local community and in other places. And we decided that we would propose to her the possibility of creating what's called a designated fund. A fund that would be created and then fund some specific charities that were important to her. She loved the idea. She created this wonderful fund and then transferred $400,000 into it. She named 6 charities. Those charities meant a lot to her and her husband. One of the charities was actually the church where she was baptized up in northwestern Minnesota. And one of the things we do when distributing these dollars is to ensure that they are charitable and that they do exist and that they are an entity that can get and receive a gift. And we called that little church up in northwestern Minnesota, and we asked for their 501c3 status and copy that they were a charitable entity, and they hung up the phone on us. And we had to call back again, and once again they hung up the phone on us. They thought we were telemarketers, and then I talked to Vi, and I said, Vi, do you know anybody in this congregation? Because they won't talk to us. All we want to do is send them a check for $6,000. And they finally, somebody got back to us, and we said, yeah, we're going to send you a check for $6,000 this year, and every year going forward, it'll be a similar type of check because of the generosity of Vi Osherman and her family. There were 5 other charities that she also named, and we were so honored to have the privilege to work with Vi. She passed away. I went to her funeral. She died at age 96. There weren't a lot of people at the funeral. The advisor was there, and actually he asked me right before the service started. He said, could you help me? And I said, with what? He said, I need one more pallbearer. And I was kind of surprised, but I'd gotten to know Vi over the years, and so he asked me, and I was distinctly honored. And I remember picking up her casket. We placed it in the hearse. As it drove away, I thought, now we have a responsibility to Vi. We're sending her off. We're wishing her goodbye, but her legacy lives on. Those 6 charities are going to get these checks ongoing into perpetuity because of her generosity and because she cared. And that's what a local community foundation does. Today, the combined assets of all the foundations we serve is about $165 million. We're sending out checks every day. In fact, I'm in the office today. I'll be signing checks. And every one of our funds that we administer, there's a wonderful story behind them, like Vi Osherman. And that's what this board wants to do, is to create these stories in Carver County, and they are there. And a local community foundation can help make a difference. And so that's why we're a part of this. We care about the community and have learned to really share the passion that Bob and Laura and Roger and the others have. And it's all about how do we make a difference and serve other and future generations. So with that, thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to work with the Community Foundation for Carver County.
Thank you so much, Steve, for sharing that wonderful story. I hope we can all kind of see ourselves in some way, shape, or form as Vi, and as having the potential for a legacy that lives well beyond ourselves so that we can support some of these magnificent charities that we have here in Carver County. And in fact, one of the things that we want to do today is inspire you with some of their stories. And so we have 3 different people who are going to share something from their own experience as leaders in the philanthropic community. The first person we're going to hear from is Roger Storms, and Roger is from Cologne. He's the secretary of the Community Foundation for Carver County. He's a former chair of our board. And Roger, we're going to let you share a little bit about some of your engagement with the good work of the foundation and in the community.
Thank you, Brenda. Good morning, all. It's good to be here with you, and I'm so glad you've taken this time to learn more about the Community Foundation for Carver County. I'm here today both as a board member and as a donor to the foundation. I've had a chance to experience the impact of the foundation across almost all of our Carver County communities, but there are a couple of stories that really highlight the ways that communities and the foundation can partner. Just recently, the Carver County Veterans Memorial was dedicated in May. The idea for this county-wide memorial started with just one visionary and generous family, but the momentum quickly spread among other leaders in the city and across the county. Working together, they were able to secure a piece of county property in an ideal location. But in order to build the memorial, they had to raise charitable gifts. And they needed a charitable partner that donors could trust with their gifts. And that's the role that the Community Foundation for Carver County was able to play until recently, when the Veterans Memorial was able to secure its own 501c3 status and manage its own funds. I hope you'll take the time to drive out to Mayor and see it. The memorial does a beautiful job of honoring the legacies of generations of veterans from all branches of the military service. And it is a stunning public presence that reminds each and every day of our gratitude for the price that has been paid for our liberties. It was an honor for the foundation to play a role in such a significant community project. The inspiration for my own community charitable vision came from the village of Hamburg. A generous and grateful multi-generation family established the Hamburg Endowment Fund at the Community Foundation for Carver County with an initial gift of $100,000. The family and others from the community continue to make donations to the fund, and that fund will receive gifts and distribute grants in perpetuity for initiatives that benefit the Hamburg community. When I followed this story, I thought, if Hamburg can do it, why not Cologne? I've been tending one of the community gardens in Cologne as a volunteer for many years, and it's no surprise that I started asking the question, how will the next generation care for this place when I can no longer do it? So I worked with the Community Foundation for Carver County, providing some seed money, and now we have the Cologne Fund. I've inspired a few different individuals and the Benton Lake Conservancy to support this fund. We hosted our first Cologne Fund event a few months ago, and I'm so pleased to see the momentum that is building and support that is coming. I have so much gratitude for the generations before me who made Cologne a great place to live, work, play, and pray. And that's the gift of community that I want to pass on to the next generation. So I'll close by asking you this. If Hamburg can do it and Cologne can do it, then why not Carver, Chaska, and Chanhassen? Why not Waconia and Watertown? Why not Norwood Young America and New Germany? Why not Victoria and Mayor? If we can do it, why not you? I hope you'll catch a vision for how the Community Foundation for Carver County can help you accomplish your charitable dream. And I'd be happy to talk with you more about doing just that. Brenda will introduce Sue Schmidt, the lead instructor at New Beginnings. Thank you all.
Roger, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of your leadership and for catching a vision and passing it on to all of us. We're going to hear next from Sue Schmidt. She's the lead instructor at New Beginnings, and she's been in that role for many years and has played such a critical role in changing the lives of many young families in this community. So we're going to let Sue tell us a little bit about how the gifts from the the Community Foundation for Carver County have been a benefit to her work and the lives of the women that she's engaged with. Sue?
Hi, thank you all for having me here today. Hope you can all hear me. My name is Sue Schmidt, and I am the lead teacher for the New Beginnings program. New Beginnings is part of the Southwest Metro Educational Cooperative located in downtown Chaska. We serve pregnant and parenting teen moms from 14 different school districts. So we serve quite a variety of students from all over. This particular year, most of our students reside here in Carver County. It seems like counties flip-flop, but this year Carver County seems to have a lot of students. We have been blessed to receive so many wonderful gifts from the Carver County Community Foundation. It has been a blessing. Our mission here at Southwest Metro and the New Beginnings program is to help our young moms, even though they have a detour, a little journey on their journey to finish their high school diploma, is to obtain that high school degree, have a high quality childcare on site, have a healthy pregnancy, have a healthy parenting relationship with their child and relationships with others, to acquire independent living skills, to develop a productive career plan or educational plan, whatever it is that they're going to do when they complete their schooling. New Beginnings is kind of like a family. Yesterday was our first day of school, and it was so heartwarming to have the girls back in their seats here at school. I mean, it was an unbelievable emotional experience for everyone, for the family to be back together. And that's what it really felt like, was the family was back together. Carver County Community Foundation has helped us in so many different ways and for so many different things. They helped us with driver's education, girls completing their CNA classes and getting uniforms so they can do their clinicals. Arts in the classroom, as you can see, we've done a beautiful mural here in our building. We've done many different ones, and we've brought artisans into the program. One of the most important things I think that New Beginnings and the Carver County Community Foundation has done is they provide an opportunity for home visits to continue throughout the summer. So I can follow the girls, make sure that they're on track, make sure they continue to get that support that this program provides for them. Years ago, I think it was one of the first times we received a grant, we were part of the Urban Boat Builders, and we built a canoe, and I took a group of women and a co-teacher with me up to the Boundary Waters, up to the Dorothy Malter area, and we did some service up in that area. And as we drove up through Duluth, one of the girls who had hardly ever been out of the Minneapolis area came up against Lake Superior, and she goes, "My gosh, Sue, I never thought I would see the ocean." Okay, this is a kid who didn't get to experience many of these things, but she saw Lake Superior for the first time and was just taken in awe of the beauty of our state of Minnesota, something that she didn't get to experience. That young lady moved on to finish her CNA because you guys offered that opportunity for her to take those classes. And she's a nurse. She's working in Chicago right now. I mean, those simple little things that you guys did changed her life in so many ways. During our COVID experience, girls were given a Kindle that you guys helped provide so they could keep reading books. I couldn't, get books to kids, so this way the Kindle was loaded with books so everybody had some to read. These are the small things that you guys did, but they're not small, they're big, and they've helped their kids so much. Last year, before COVID happened, we were reading The Color Purple. We were going to go see the play down at the Orpheum, and then COVID hit, so we didn't get to do that. But I was able to find a way to, Zoom it so everybody could at least watch the movie, but it would have been phenomenal to take the girls down there to see that play. We are so honored to be recipients of the Carver County Community Foundation. We hope this relationship can continue throughout. We've truly enjoyed working with you guys. And Bob, you have always been our champion and our hero, and thank you for your constant support. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. And the stories that come out of New Beginnings are just something special and just touch everyone's heart. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Sue. We're going to hear another set of stories now from Tom Redman, who is also known to many of you. Tom is the chair of the board of Bountiful Baskets, and he's a volunteer, and as best I can tell, that's his full-time gig, because Bountiful Baskets has stolen his heart, and he gives his very best to just this wonderful cause. So we're going to hear from Tom now and learn more about how some of the gifts that come through the foundation support that important work at Bountiful Baskets.
Thank you, Brenda, and good morning. Thank you to the Community Foundation for Carver County for your support and for inviting me to speak to you today on behalf of the Bountiful Basket Food Shelf. Just a brief history. The food shelf in Eastern Carver County started in around 2007, and at that time, the food shelf was situated in the Jonathan area, and it was managed by the CAP agency. In 2010, 2011, we created a board representing Eastern Carver County, and we moved to our current home, which is on Bavaria Road in Chaska. In a typical month, we'll serve around 1,400 people, and we'll distribute 34,000 pounds of food to people that are in need. I think it's worth noting that we're 100% managed and operated by a group of volunteers. So we're totally volunteers, and we serve the communities of Carver, Chanhassen, Chaska, and Victoria. I'd like to focus on what your grants have allowed us to do at the food shelf so that you get an idea of the significance they have had on our ability to help people in need. Over the past 12 to 18 months, we've created what we call a mobile food shelf. We continue to serve those 1,000 plus people that come to the food shelf, and they're welcome to come twice a month. So we continue to do that. But we were blessed that we had the resources that we thought we could do more to help people in need. And the Community Foundation for Carver County has certainly helped us to do that. We created partnerships where we take food to the people. One of those partnerships is New Beginnings that Sue was talking about, and that's a special example in that Sue uses some of the food to allow the girls to learn how to cook breakfast and lunch. Some of the food is used to teach the girls how to make healthy snacks, and if need be, some of the food can be taken home with the gals as needed. We also created a partnership with Families Moving Forward before the pandemic at Shepherd on the Hill, Hope House, Teens in Crisis, where they pick up food at the food shelf on a weekly basis. Another recent mobile food program that we started up is at Tallheim, Auburn Homes, where we take food to senior citizens that are in need once a month. We do that same thing at Waybury Apartments for senior citizens, where we take food to senior citizens that are in need once a month. We participate with St. John's Church in Chaska for their Monday evening meal program, where we provide some of the food product that they need to serve for their dinner. And we also work with Launch Ministry and providing food for what they do in serving their clients. The Community Foundation grant dollars have allowed us to either expand or create new mobile food programs. And what I'd like to do is just real quickly is focus on two of those programs that are very, very important. And once again, we could not have done it, excuse me, to the extent we are without the Community Foundation. The one is that I'd like to talk about is the homeless program. So Carver County, we work with Carver County Social Services and Public Health, and they provide lodging locations in Chaska and Chanhassen for individuals and families that are homeless. What the food shelf does is every other week we provide food for these individuals and families. Yesterday is a good example where I took 500 pounds of food that served 41 individuals. So there was 18 households that were accommodating 41 individuals that are homeless in Eastern Carver County. The other new program that we created that's a mobile program is with Humanity Alliance. Humanity Alliance is a nonprofit, and what they do is they find food, either rescue food, donated food, or at times they'll have to purchase food, and then they'll cook that food and they'll deliver it to people that are in need. Last weekend, I believe they served over 1,500 meals, and that's on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to people that are in need. Your grant dollars from the Community Foundation have allowed us to partner with them to bring this nonprofit program into Carver County. I think this is worth noting as they came into Carver County and as they partnered with the Bountiful Basket. And once again, that was through the Community Foundation for Carver County. From that now, they're working with Carver County Social Services in relation to providing meals to people that are in need. They're also working with Launch Ministry that you're familiar with, that helps teens in crisis. So they're providing meals to some of those people from Launch Ministry that would certainly benefit from meals. And next week, we're going to expand the program one more time, and we're actually going to take meals to residents that are in need or could benefit from weekend meals down at Tallheim. So while many governmental and corporate employees were asked to stay home during the pandemic and to work from their home, the Bountiful Basket was asking what was identified as the most vulnerable population, senior citizens, to continue to come to work as volunteers, which they did. What the Community Foundation for Carver County has done is shown a commitment by actually giving grant dollars to us as a food shelf so that we can give to others who are in need. Your grant does many things, including showing the food shelf volunteers and the community that you care and that you are willing to step up and assist them in helping to meet the basic needs of our neighbors and our friends. Secondly, your grants give us the wherewithal to build on our existing partnerships and to build new partnerships to help even more individuals and families who are in need of food. What we do well is we partner. And I talked about some of those partnerships today. I think another group of our best partners, and they've been there from day one, are the area churches in Eastern Carver County that have been very kind to us. And all these groups have made it possible for us to be successful. It's wonderful to see a local foundation acknowledge what we have been doing and to work with us to do even more. Thank you to the Community Foundation for Carver County for reaching out to help others. Thank you.
Tom, thank you. I am always so thrilled to make a gift to Bountiful Basket because of how many tentacles that gift has, how many lives it's touching. And we're just so grateful that you've been able to do this work on our behalf, really, when we've needed to kind of stay hunkered down. So thank you so much, Tom. We are grateful. The next question that we're going to ask and ask a couple of our board members to reflect on is how philanthropy can work for Carver County moving forward. And we're going to have two of our board members speak to that. The first is Laura Helmer, and Laura is currently serving as the vice chair of the board for the Community Foundation for Carver County. Laura also happens to serve on the board of CommunityGiving, and she is our representative there. And then after we've heard from Laura, we're going to turn things back to Bob. And in the meantime, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to enter those into the chat role if you know how to use those, so that we can in fact be watching for your question and be ready to answer it after we've heard from Bob. So Laura, we're going to turn next to you.
All right, thanks Brenda. And thanks again to Roger and Sue and Tom for sharing their really informative and inspiring stories of community with us. So good morning, everyone. I think all of us that are gathered here today would agree that Carver County is already a great place to live and learn and work and play. Most of us have heard about, and we actually take great pride in our rating by the Smart Asset as the happiest large county in the United States. And in fact, we've held that distinction or been in the top 5 for the last several years in a row. And what we also know is that Carver County is one of the fastest growing counties in Minnesota. And we expect that that growth will bring with it great opportunities to our communities, But we also anticipate that with continued growth will come new challenges, and that growth will also magnify the challenges that we already face. And these are challenges like food insecurity. We heard Tom talk about the great need that he has seen at Bountiful Basket. How will we respond to those community members that do not have access to a sufficient quantity of affordable and nutritious food? Affordable housing choices is another challenge. We already know that our communities lack enough affordable housing to meet the needs of our current residents, including our aging population. With that continued growth, how will we respond to those who need a place to call home? And mental health issues are another challenge. 1 in 5 people will experience mental illness during their lifetime, and everyone faces challenges in life that can impact their mental health. So how will we respond to our neighbors who need support during unstable times? These are only 3 examples of the challenges our communities face, and I know that you all know of other examples in your own lives. Carver County's private and public sectors are incredibly strong, but to meet the challenges of our future, our communities also need a third partner. Healthy and thriving communities have a nonprofit sector that can address the needs that businesses and government alone cannot. The Community Foundation for Carver County can be the charitable catalyst for a community that remains healthy and vital in the midst of change. We also know that the potential of the Carver Foundation, the potential of the Community Foundation for Carver County is tremendous. We are fortunate in our communities to have the ability to embrace a mindset of abundance. We have more than enough resources to meet our community challenges. And there are at least 3 reasons why we know that this is true. The first, 3 of Minnesota's top 10 wealthiest cities, Chanhassen, Victoria, and Waconia, are all in Carver County. Second, Carver County has also been rated as the most generous county in Minnesota. We have the highest percentage of givers per capita in Minnesota, and we donate the highest percentage of our net income. And number 3, nationwide, we are at the cusp of a 30-year period of a great wealth transfer from one generation to the next, and a significant portion will benefit the nonprofit sector. Despite the challenges of our current times, those of us who serve on the board of the Community Foundation for Carver County are convinced that we couldn't be better positioned for investing in the future of the foundation. We hope that you'll begin to imagine the possibilities with us, and that you'll be inspired to help us move our Community Foundation to a position of greater significance and impact. I have the privilege of also serving on the board of CommunityGiving, with leaders from many of Minnesota's community foundations. One of the biggest reasons our sister foundations in other communities have flourished in recent years is because they have made critical investments in their staff. I'm going to pass the mic back to Bob so he can speak more directly to this. Bob?
Thanks, Laura. I guess I should unmute myself there. Appreciate that, your message. And I too want to just offer my thanks to the stories that have been shared by Sue and Tom and Roger. They just demonstrate the community spirit that exists across our communities, and the good work that's being done by a number of organizations to meet the needs of people that are out there today struggling, and those are just very special, and it's good to hear them share those stories. So we appreciate you, all of you, doing that. So we get to the time here when we talk about how do we make this work and what's needed for the Community Foundation for Carver County to continue its growth. So in order for the foundation to take, a leap forward in our ability to carry out our mission of engaging people, connecting resources, and and building community, we need to invest in putting in place an executive director who can provide the support, provide the voice, and lead the charge to build the foundation as we go forward. So we need to identify a local leader who can be at the table full-time with our donors and nonprofits, with our business and government leaders, and with members of the community across Carver County. As our foundation funds grow, this position will become self-sustaining, but we need to make an initial investment to make this happen, to bring this executive director online. So specifically, over the next 3 years, we need seed money for this position, a total of $450,000. We're looking for those that could either make an upfront gift or a 3-year commitment. Given the times, we're not launching a community-wide campaign to accomplish this. Once we have an executive director on board, we'll be able to engage the entire community in so many varied ways. But for now, we're taking a more focused approach with people who understand the investor mentality. We're reaching out to people who understand that a major gift at this time will leverage millions of dollars of impact in our community for generations to come. We really need to identify only a few of the county's most committed, visionary, and generous donors to move forward. Already, the Otto Bremer Trust has committed $60,000, and we have other possibilities that we're pursuing presently, along with the need to identify those individuals, foundations, and businesses that might support our executive director goal. So in support of that vision, to make our communities of Carver County the best they can be and make this executive director hire a reality, we need your help and we need your support. To one, either consider the possibility of investing in the future of Carver County and its people, and consider the possibility of a gift commitment over a period of 3 years. If not you personally, then perhaps a business or organization that you may have a connection with. If that's not something that will work, then are there people or businesses or foundations or organizations that you know that you could make a referral, or maybe even better, make an introduction to? Finally, we hope we can follow up with you and have a conversation about the possible ways you can be an advocate or a supporter of the Community Foundation for Carver County. For some, we've already talked to you about the possibility of your involvement in establishing a Chaska Community Fund. So as Roger has laid out the challenge of Norwood Young America has a community fund, Hamburg has a community fund, Cologne has a community fund, why not a community fund for the remaining towns and cities across Carver County? We're looking at doing that in Chaska. So hopefully we'll be able to connect with you soon, talk about your possible connection, your possible support of the foundation. And if you do want to discuss more, have ideas, feel free to give me a call or contact also, or any one of the board members, I'm sure. So we appreciate that. My contact information is there on the screen, and please give me a call. So one thing I hope you take away from today is the hope and possibility for the future of our communities. We do need to engage our communities, and we do need to connect our resources to make a difference and build community that will provide hope and possibility to and for every person. The foundation at its core is about doing just that, engaging people, connecting resources, and building community. And as we said earlier, there's no more important time than right now to build community and to do that together. And that's the goal and the objective of the Community Foundation for Carver County. It is a critical path item for a healthy future for Carver County communities, the communities that we call home. So thank you so very much. Thanks for taking the time and spending that time with us again out of very busy schedules, I'm sure. We appreciate that more than you know. And we are all grateful, all of us on the board and connected, those connected with the foundation. We're grateful for every way that you can see yourself partnering with us. And thanks so much again for spending your time with us today.
Bob, thank you so much. Laura, thank you. We're so grateful for your leadership and your inspiration. We're going to have a few minutes now for some questions before we let you go on your way. One of the first questions that we have is from Dwayne. He asks, will a recording of this event be available for us to share with others? Yes, absolutely. We're going to be sharing this recording with each of you who attended, with hopes that you'll pass it on to others you know, as Bob has just asked you or invited you to do. We'll have it on the Community Foundation for Carver County website, and we'll also be sharing it with the people who weren't able to attend today. Again, if you have a specific question, you can write it into the chat roll. I do have a question here that perhaps we can invite Steve to answer. Steve, if you want to get ready for this. We already have residents in Carver County who have established some funds in places like the Minneapolis Foundation or in one of the other large long-standing Metro foundations. And so, you know, why should somebody from Carver County work with the Community Foundation for Carver County, perhaps instead of the Minneapolis Foundation or one of those other longtime players in the community? Steve, can you answer that question for us?
Well, the first thing I'd probably say is I don't think we'd ever encourage anybody to do a fund at the Community Foundation for Carver County instead of one or the other. I mean, we know that people live in different communities and are a part of different communities. And so, you know, all community foundations are there to serve their community. In some cases, like the Minneapolis or St. Paul foundations, they're a broader reach around the whole metro area. And they have wonderful staff and wonderful tools and can be of great assistance. I mean, I would rather, instead of using the word instead, I'd like to say both and. In other words, as a person also has a leg in, you know, the metro area, they make their home maybe in Carver County. And if they make their home in Carver County, they want to ensure that there's great schools and that that there's great public spaces and that all the people are being taken care of in their local community where they live. And so we would encourage them to look at an additional connection to the local community foundation serving Carver County. So it's not a question of one or the other or which is better. It's really a question of how do you be a part of several communities and really have impact. We think a local community foundation in Carver County is a great tool to really drill down and have an impact in your local community. We've seen this time and again in areas that we serve, and again, it's not a point of competition. Again, our philosophy is encourage people to give, and if we encourage enough people to do that, then the Community Foundation for Carver County will certainly have a very critical role, and some of those dollars and some of those donors are going to want to do it locally in their own local community.
And Steve, just to add to that, Brenda, I think we have worked to understand the issues and challenges that the communities across our county are facing. Laura talked about a number of those with housing and homelessness and mental health. I mean, those are significant issues. So if people are looking and at a point in their life where they say, how can I give back? I want to give back. And I want to invest in my community, but I'm not sure where. I think one of the advantages of, or things that our foundation can do, is work with people in terms of identifying how people can best place dollars or make that investment where they can have the biggest impact and that people would be comfortable with and be glad to see happen with dollars that they'd like to use to make their communities a better place to call home. So just a consideration as you consider the Community Foundation. So.
Good. Thank you. We have another question from Randy, and I think this question comes out of the times, especially that we find ourselves in. But he says, how can we be sure that the foundation's funding support the needs of our diverse communities, particularly in food security issues. And Bob, I know that you've been an active part of those kinds of conversations in our community. Do you want to speak to that question?
Appreciate asking that, Randy, and I think that's a good and relevant question. Our communities are changing, and in fact, some of us spent time at a webinar, community giving webinar yesterday that talked about our changing communities and the challenges that they are facing. And we are seeing more diversity across our communities. We certainly are hearing the discussion of racism and bias that's going on. I think Tom Redmond, as he talked about a bountiful basket, certainly directly, and I think Sue Schmidt also with New Beginnings are dealing with the diverse community and the needs of the diverse community, people in need, and responding to that. I think it is one of the examples of how the Community Foundation is looking to understand how do we best impact, how can we make the biggest impact on people and the needs of the communities of Carver County by understanding that very thing. You know, they are changing, Randy, we know that, we see that all the time, and when we make grants, and we've had a response fund as we've dealt with the virus that has had those very discussions as we've considered applications, and I think we're at closing in on $40,000. We probably have another grant cycle to make that we've granted to different organizations, but exactly that discussion, Randy, that we have in terms of how can we make the biggest impact on people in need. So, and that does often deal with our growing diversity as communities.
Thank you, Bob. We've got time, I think, for one more question here, and it's this. I think this will be for you, Steve. So in what kind of giving situations would I want to use the Community Foundation for Carver County instead of making gifts directly to the charities I want to support? Obviously, we want people to support charities directly, but that's a valid question. How does the Community Foundation for Carver County step into maybe unique situations?
Well, I think there's many reasons why we see our donors wanting to work through a local community foundation. First is basically just what Bob and Laura and others have talked about, and that is the community foundation's local knowledge of where dollars are needed and where they can have an impact. So donors like that they can pick up the phone and call a local staff and find out what's happening and where those dollars can be used. We also find that donors like to have one central place to do all of their giving, and that's become very common through the vehicle called a donor advised fund, and you can get these through commercial entities like Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, but local community foundations have been doing it long before any of the commercial vehicles were there, and local community foundations are still there, and donors like it because, again, it's local. They often can make one gift, get one receipt, so they don't have to have multiple receipts. They can go online through CommunityGiving's web portal and be able to make all their gifts to their favorite charities in Carver County, and then have them tracked year after year so they know where their dollars are going and where they're having an impact. And then, once a year they only need one receipt, and that comes from their gift to their local community foundation. So that makes it convenient, makes it easy. Again, we say to our donors, we want them to enjoy their philanthropy and enjoy giving back, and we're here as a resource to support them in that process. And then finally, I think one of the reasons they choose the local community foundation is many of them have deep connections into that community, and that's where they want that local legacy, like Vi Osherman. They want that local legacy to be there, not because they want the credit. Time and time again, donors tell us immediately, I don't want anybody to know. I kind of want to be anonymous. And actually, we try to talk them out of that, because why we talk them out of that is we want them to say, what you're doing is great, and we'd like to hold it up as a story that we could tell. Because what happens from that is other stories are created. Other families say, well, you know what, if this family did this, you know what, I think our family could do this. And then it even translates to other generations. Remember what Grandpa and Grandma did? Maybe we could do that too. So keeping those stories and that collection of stories in the local community is really important, is really vital. And that's how so many things are in existence today that sometimes we take for granted. It came from somebody who was generous and wanted to provide a park, wanted to provide for the local church, community foundations just play a role in helping preserve that. So we think there's lots of reasons why donors come to us, and the one last one from a tax perspective, probably not as inspiring, but we do have people who, now that the threshold for giving is higher, they like to what they do called bunch their donations. So they want to get over the threshold to take a charitable deduction, and so they bunch their donations in 1 year, take a charitable deduction, and then the next few years they don't itemize. So bunching them in 1 year ensures they get that deduction, and then in future years they can use that pool of money to make their charitable gifts. So we work with advisors. We can get very technical in nature to talk about advantages, but really I think what motivates everybody the most is just the inspiring stories that are out there, and we're here as a tool to help them do that.
I think
Wonderful, Steve.
Just to add to that, Brenda, when we talked initially with community giving, what underscored and one of the key messages I think we've tried to bring to the group today is this whole idea of building community for every person. That is the goal and objective of the Community Foundation for Carver County. So whether you're a new or native, young or old, no matter what culture you come from, race, color, creed, we're building community. And the needs and our willingness to be out there and provide the vehicle to help people invest in the future of every one of our communities in Carver County and build that strong sense of community, that's what we want to do. And we need your help and support to do that. And hopefully we'll be able to follow up with you. If there's a group or an organization, a club that we could talk to and present our information to us, to that group, please contact any one of us and we'll show up, and we'll bring the short video, and we'll bring stories, and we'll share the possibilities and the potential.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks. That's the perfect finish to our time together today. Again, we're so grateful for your leadership. We're so grateful to all of you who joined us today, and we hope that something has inspired you to action. You can reach out directly to either Bob or Steve. You can see their contact information on the screen in front of you. And we hope that you will receive one of us warmly when we reach out to you as well, so that we can answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for passing this video along to others, and we'll look forward to building community together. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.